Athearn Genesis 2.0 SD60M Tri-Clops in HO scale. Let's take a closer look right here on DG Modelworks. If you would like to see more content from my channel, be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified of future videos. Here we have a model of an early EMD SD60M featuring a three-piece windshield. The SD60M was the most successful variant of the SD60 line. The initial versions of the SD60M featured a three-piece windshield and were produced through 1990 before EMD switched to a two-piece design. Because of the style and design, these three-piece windshield units inherited the nickname Triclops. There were 239 Triclops versions produced, landing initial service for Union Pacific, Burlington Northern, and Soo Line. Here is a representation of a Norfolk Southern unit. Norfolk Southern acquired 9 Triclops from BNSF in 2014. Norfolk Southern numbered these units 6807 to 6815. This is a model of the 6807 unit, which happens to be an XBN unit. This release of the SD60M Triclops from Athearn happens to be from their Genesis 2.0 line, which is their most detailed model line and features things like road name and number specific details, all LED lighting, lit number boards and ground lights, rubber MU hoses, etched see-through steps, and the sound models feature Soundtrack Tsunami 2 paired with dual sugar cube speakers. And this particular model has other cool features that I will talk about further in the video. Let's dive right in because this is a gorgeous locomotive. It has tons of detail, and I don't care what angle you look at this thing, you will notice more detail. So let's get started. Let's jump right in and address the elephant in the room, and that would be the unique three-piece windshield, which gives it that infamous Triclops nickname. I would also like to point out that Athearn has made a correction on the centerpiece windshield from the previous run. This one is now accurately sized. You can see your separately applied windshield wipers and all that beautiful cab detail. As we move further down, you'll notice we have treaded walkways, ditch lights, rubber MU hoses, a McHenry plastic coupler, and even some grab irons across the top of the plow. And etched see-through steps. It also has a removable roof along with a full cab interior. And check this out. I mean, they even took the time to paint the entire interior, including the roof, the underside of the roof. Now, I know a lot of people complain about the price of these models, but if you actually take the time to look at the level of detail that goes into these things, it's no wonder they cost what they do. And there are options out there for more budget-friendly people. This happens to be the Genesis 2.0, which is the top of their line. Give you a glimpse back the side of it here. Really nicely done. We have a see-through grille here. We have lift rings across the top, lift rings on the side. Everything is there as it should be. Really nicely done. Now this is where some of the detail starts to shine on this model. Look at the truck detail and all the underbody detail, fuel tank detail, and this does come with spinning bearing caps. And another cool feature that you really have to look for to see, but it is an added touch, and I'll try to get a shot of it, but they even added traction motor detail to the trucks back in behind here and in behind here also. And while we're looking at the trucks, here's a close-up shot of the rotating or spinning bearing caps. Looking at the back, we have separately applied grab irons, We have coupler cut levers, simulated spare knuckle couplers, rubber MU hoses, and your plastic McHenry coupler. Looking at the rear truck on the other side of the locomotive, you will notice real brake chain here, and again some more rotating bearing caps, and don't forget the sanding lines. And here's another shot of some more fuel tank detail, underbody detail, some truck detail along with the rotating bearing cap. And one quick glimpse across the top. You'll see some separately applied grab irons. You have your radiator, fans, lift rings, your exhaust, dynamic brake fan, more lift rings, firecracker antenna. All the little details that we love. Moving on, let's check out the all LED lighting on this locomotive. So let's check out the headlight. And how about ditch lights? Those ditch lights are plenty bright. They do alternate with the horn. I do have the sound muted, but give you an idea. If you blow the horn, that's what they do. It also has lit number boards. I'm not sure how well I can get this to show up. There you can see them. And this model does also have ground lights. The ground lights come on automatically. That's how it's set up. Although even in a very dark room, they really are not visible. You can adjust CVs for the brightness of the number boards and the ditch lights. Here you can see ground lights are on, but nobody's home. So I will show you real quick how to adjust the brightness of the ground lights and the number boards to your liking. Here is the list of CVs that control the brightness of the lights. They can be set anywhere between 0 and 255, 0 being dim and 255 being bright. Now I found that I did not need to make any adjustments to the master brightness on this locomotive, but I did have to change CV61 and CV62. CV61 controls the ground lights and CV62 controls the number boards. The ground lights come from the factory set at 50 and the number boards come from the factory set at 70. So you can adjust the brightness levels to your desired brightness. So after some CV changes, you can see the number boards are brighter. I took those to a value of 200. And there are the ground lights. And I took mine to 255. I maxed that out. 255 may be too bright. I just did it for demonstration purposes. And there is a shot of the rear light along with lit number boards again on the rear. Alright, let's do a little quiet running of this first before we get into the sounds. I will say this thing ran nice and smooth right out of the box. I did not have a chance to do any break-in period, but I didn't need to. It ran just fine right out of the box. So let's bump this up to speed step 1. There you go. Nice and smooth. No jerking around or hesitation. Let's go a little more. There is some slight noise at higher speeds, but it's a typical Genesis drive. That's what you should expect. It is a very nice running locomotive. There's no gear chatter or anything like that. Alright, let's check out some sounds quick and then we'll go find a train to pull. Alright, as with all Soundtrax decoders, Applying track power gives you the startup sequence. I did lower the volume of the horn a little bit because it was pretty blaring loud. Other than that, I left all the other sounds the same. We'll do the bell. And the horn. And it does have the short horn on function 3. And that's your basic sounds. You do have a dynamic brake function that you can use during actual operations. So what do you say we go find a train to pull? let's wrap this video up with some of my final thoughts. I love this locomotive. This thing is amazing. The level of detail on this, I tell you, Athearn knocked it out of the park. You got the rotating bearing caps, the traction motor detail. I mean, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which angle you look at this thing, you're going to see detail. So nicely done, very well done. The lighting, no complaints for me. If anything, the ditch lights might be a little bit brighter than the headlight, but man, there's no complaints there, especially with the ditch lights. The sound is amazing too. Coming from Athearn's dual sugar cube speaker, I really like Athearn's dual sugar cube speaker. Whenever I first heard it in one of their ready to roll SD40-2s, it blew me away. So great job on the speaker. And this thing ran smooth right out of the box. No complaints there. And you did notice it does pull very well. It weighs in right at 22.2 ounces, and it was pulling a train of 38 various cars along with 4 auto racks. So not too bad. If there was one area that I would have any type of complaint about, when I received this, one of the bearing caps came off in transit, but luckily it was in the box. When I reattached it, what I did was I put a little bit of tacky glue, tiny bit of tacky glue in the axle hole when I put it on. That way it wouldn't fall off as easy. But there were no included extra bearing caps. So if you lose one, you're out of luck. You'll be contacting the Athearn parts department for a replacement. So that's one thing I think Athearn could have did. They could have included a couple extras. And if you're interested in purchasing one of these, either in Norfolk Southern or some of the other available road names, please look in the description for links to places that you can purchase these. Alright guys, that's all I have for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.